Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And as I've talked about many times before, I'm a DC fanboy. I love the Batman the Animated Series. That was my first real introduction outside of the 89 Batman to Batman and the DC universe as a whole. And I've loved a lot of that kind of stuff going forward. Well, it turns out, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the long-rumored Clayface movie is officially happening. And considering who wrote the script for this thing, I am cautiously optimistic. Now, we know that scripts can change later down the road. Certain things can be rehashed and yada, yada, yada and stuff like that. But the guy that they have officially announced for this one comes from good pedigree and has done several projects in the past that I have been really, really enjoyed. And it's one of those things where Clayface, for a horror writer, I don't think you could have asked for a better one than Mike Flannigan. And boys and girls, that announcement has officially been confirmed by James Gunn. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about here today. We've got this article over here from Bounding Into Comics and J.B. Augustine. James Gunn gives the green light to a Clayface movie written by Dr. Sleep director Mike Flannigan. Now, though I did not see Dr. Sleep, I heard it was kind of okay. I know it was financially very much a failure, but the two series that I know from Mike Flannigan over on Netflix, Midnight Mass, and I believe he did like The Haunting on Hill House or something like that as well. I absolutely loved Midnight Mass. I loved Haunting on Hill House as well. I love those ones as well. I love that kind of horror genre. Midnight Mass was a story that I had never seen on with a completely and totally different take on things. I won't spoil it for you, but it involves a whole bunch of people at night, and for some reason all of a sudden this priest comes back and he's doing mass at night and all this other kind of stuff, which is why it's called Midnight Mass. Needless to say, it's really, really good. It's got a great story. And honestly, I think it's got like a great little lesson at the end of it as well. And it's one of them things, if you haven't gone and seen it, it's really, really good, and I highly recommend it. So needless to say, I'm always cautiously optimistic when it comes to some of this new DC stuff, depending on who all's involved with it. But knowing that Mike Flannigan is writing the script for it and how much I've enjoyed Clayface's character over the years, this could actually end up turning out good for us, boys and girls. So we're going to check out this article and get into all of the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, let us know what you think about this. Have you seen some of Mike Flannigan's work in the past? Do you enjoy a lot of it? Do you think this is actually a very good sign for the future of this Clayface movie? Where would you like to see this? Would you like to see this part of James Gunn's actual continuity for the new DCU, or do you think this is something that will fit better in the kind of the little Penguin universe, kind of with the Batman movie they've got kind of universe going on right now? I think there is an official announcement, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but we'll get into it in the article. Either way, let us know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. So from Bounding Into Comics and our dear sweet J.B. Augustine, Clayface's origin story is making it to the big screen. And we have a release date confirmed by DC Studio co-president James Gunn himself. Moreover, this film is written by a reputable horror director who considers this project a dream. And honestly, that's something that we've talked about in the past. We've covered with Mike Flannigan voicing his opinions on this Clayface series, or Clayface movie. And it's one of those situations where, yeah, I think he is an excellent, excellent fit. So as you can see here, we've got the post from James Gunn. Exciting news out of the DC official studios today as hashtag Clayface, a DCU story from a script by Flannagan film, has been officially green lit. Clayface premieres in 2026. Ooh, let's see what we get. Mike Flannigan, director of Dr. Sleep and the creator of such Netflix's miniseries as Midnight Mass, has written a script that met the approval of Gunn and DC Studios, says The Hollywood Reporter. However, Flannigan won't be directing, and the search for the person to see his vision, though, is ongoing. And that's one of the situations where that is also going to tell us a lot more. What kind of pedigree does the director they find to do this? What has he done in the past? Is this somebody new? How much is Flannigan going to have influence on the set, being only the writer of the script if they bring a new director in? That will be something we'll have to keep an eye on and see how much it goes. Like I said, as of right now, cautiously optimistic. Additionally, the Clayface movie will be produced by Matt Reeves, which suggests it will take place within the continuity of the Batman epic crime saga. So obviously that has to do with the Batman movie, that has to do with the Penguin series. So that could be one of them situations that goes on with all that kind of stuff. I don't know. We don't have an official confirmation on that. We will probably know later as this comes down, but since Matt Reeves is producing, that would actually make sense. This would not only mean the film is a sister project of the Penguin and the Batman, but also that we can corroborate aspects of rumors going around about this character. And this is one of the things they've talked about with Elseworld stories. James Gunn's perfectly okay with doing all that kind of stuff. Why is James Gunn perfectly okay with doing Elseworld stories and let things inside of the DC universe get out of his control? Because Warner Brothers is broke and they need things that make money, and Matt Reeves stuff, whether you like it or not, whether you you think of them are 8 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10, they make money. The Penguin has been a huge success on HBO Max, and everybody I've known that's watched it absolutely loved it, boys and girls. It's just me finding the time to watch things when I have apathy for a lot of these major corporations out there sometimes becomes a problem. Besides the report that the project is in works, a big development we heard about and addressed way back was Clayface supposedly factoring into Reeves' plans. Originally, it was speculated a version of the character would turn up in The Penguin. That didn't turn out to be true, but the series featured a character named Eve Carlo, played by Carmen Ejigo. Her name is a clear reference to Basile Carlo, the actor turned serial killer who donned a mask to become the original Clayface. Quite possibly, he already exists in the Batverse and somehow relates to Eve. If not her father, he could be a long-lost brother, but that's just a spitballing, which makes sense, and that's what fans do, and it's fun to speculate. Should this Clayface turn out to be a resident of Reeves' Gotham, fans expecting the shape-shifting body horror of Matt Hagen or Preston Payne might be disappointed. That's not to say Reeves won't channel his inner Cronenberg this time, it's just not very likely. His grounded approach as far as the Seven style noir and gritty gangster drama thus far, which honestly, if they end up going that direction, I'm not going to be a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Batman the Animated Series. I've talked about that before many a times. And that is one of my favorite versions of Clayface. I absolutely love that. And yeah, you can talk about, original source material, yada, yada, yada. No. Give us the monster that should be Clayface. If you're giving a writer like Flannagan this job, make him horrific. Make him scary, because that's what Clayface is. He's a monster and a villain. Conversely, Gunn could surprise us and set the film in the DCU, where Clayface is already played by Alan Tudyk. According to Gunn, actors who supply voices for the animation will also portray their characters in live action, although he can always change his mind later. Obviously, yes, he could, and for whatever reasons he could come up with as excuses, but that would actually work out very well if he's the voice actor for Clayface and then he ends up showing up in the series, because it's not going to matter what he looks like on the set if you're going to make him look like the Clayface we all know and love, and I think that's what a lot of us are actually hoping for. So regardless, Clayface is scheduled to ooze his way into theaters on September 11th, 2026, 1 month before the Batman Part 2, and considering that release schedule, considering Matt Reeves is doing this, we're probably not going to get the Clayface we want. We didn't exactly get the Riddler that we all kind of wanted and expected from the Batman series out there. I mean, that thing was an absolute abomination. But needless to say, I like Mike Flannigan, and so that at least makes me cautiously optimistic. Is this going to be good? Is it going to be great? Is it going to be fabulous? I have no idea. But at the end of the day, we will see what happens. Mike Flannigan being part of this is a very good sign and adds to my cautious optimism about the Clayface movie. So we also have to wait and see. Is this going to be actual Matt Reeves production? If he's producing it, that makes sense. It should be tied in, especially if it's coming out a month before the Batman movie. I mean, that could be a great little piggyback thing, especially if the Clayface movie actually ends up being good. But if you don't give us a Clayface that I think of so many of the characters, especially a lot of this is the thing about it, you've got a lot of normie fans out there, right? I'm a bit of a normie. I call myself the common nerd for a reason. Obviously, after reporting on all this kind of stuff for years and years and years, I know a little bit more about it. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things, majority of people know Clayface from Batman the Animated Series. And if you try to give us an entire movie based on Clayface that doesn't represent the character that the majority of the audience out there knows and loves or fears in some cases, then this is not going to work out, and this could turn into another disastrous dumpster fire, and it may end the Matt Reeves universe unless the Batman ends up coming in there and being some kind of major success. I mean, the first Batman movie wasn't some billion-dollar movie. It did well, and it's certainly done better than anything Warner Brothers for the DC universe has put out over the last few years, but at the end of the day, it wasn't some gangbusters. But as long as it makes a profit, considering how desperate Warner Brothers is, they will continue to go forward with this. I just don't think a Matt Reeves version of Clayface is going to work out very well. But who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they'll bring a little more actual horror and monstrous kind of stuff into Matt Reeves' Batman universe. At the end of the day, it will only be a matter of time before we find out. And I, for one, with Mike Flannigan involved, I'm definitely cautiously optimistic, but we will wait and see how that trailer comes out. So let us know what you think about all this down below. Thanks for watching. God bless, and we love you all.